I'm humbled to be here. The next 60 minutes belongs to you, and so I will be interactive. I'm sharing with you some of the insights, what is changing in the Nordics, manufacturing, industrial sector. I'm sharing with you the future, the mega trends that are happening in the industry, and I want to give you a reality check on AI, where AI really is and where it's going to head. For you and where people are in the center of AI. I want to do it in a special way for you because today everything is a little bit confused. Everybody consumes their own material, their own content, all of this. My career 30 years ago started in the Nordics. I was employed by a company called MAS. I was selling EMS systems, MOS systems, that later on became ERP systems. I remember the first time I had a salesperson, I was hardcore salesperson. He said, Henrik, you do everything for the customer except shaving your legs. And I did. Until I sold my first solution and I came to the IT department and they said, it looks amazing. We have no idea how to implement what you sold them, right? Because it was just overloading on promises what you can do. So I want to give you a view on where we are today and also a view on where the Nordic moved along that journey. So let me start with this. In 2009, I was doing a strategy for Germany. And normally when you do strategy, you look at mega trends, how they align. And normally mega trends are there for 5 to 10 years and organizations could react to it. That's the normal business that was there. And at that time, we realized something is changing quite radically. And when you do strategy for an organization, you always look at the trends and how you can react to trends. And within that element, we realized 5 trends are colliding together. Mobile phone, big data, internet, and cloud were colliding together. So when you look at your phone was before 2009, not your phone you had today. These 3 worlds collided together. Digital, virtual, and physical world collided together. We call that the digital agenda. And the core of the digital agenda remained in manufacturing. Manufacturing is the backbone of any country. It's the backbone of innovation. It's where innovation happens. It's the future of any country is always manufacturing. Even though the country leaders are not seeing it, that's the future where that happens. So this is what we realized. The European Union adopted it. Everything was going that way. Half year later, Henrik Kagermann, Professor Scheel and I, if you don't know them, Henrik Kagermann is the co-founder of SAP. Professor Scheel is our godfather of our process thinking. And we were sitting there over a beer and we realized, holy macaroni. It's not 5 trends that are colliding together. It's 89 mega trends that are colliding in a period until 2050. And it looks a little bit like this. So you have technology trends, you have regulatory trends, you have workforce trends, you have economic trends, you have demographic trends, you have global trends, you have consumer trends, and then you have spatial trends and environment trends. These trends have not changed since 2011, since we announced it. The media and how we consume it are different. So in my organization, we provide all the trends to the World Economic Forum, which is then another part, which is the Soros organization, McKinsey, Deloitte, all of them. And somehow the information that we give them receives a different turnaround on what they are able to sell in terms of what the market is actually really giving. So what this is actually for you, it creates a view on the mega trends that are there and what they are. And before I'm going on, I need 2 people from the back down there. I need the young lady and the young man. If you can come forward. Yes, you and you. Very good. I'm just going to demonstrate you now what mega trends are. Just come up. Because it's actually quite difficult because you hear in the media everything around trends. So I will use AI as one trend, right? And AI, welcome. Welcome. So look at the mega trend in 2 versions. A female version and a mail version. And don't get DIY on me, right? There's a purpose to it, because an organization, if he's an organization and she's an organization, it runs, it operates, and everything that organization runs all the time. And a trend is designed as a force and a driver. So as a force is there, regulatory forces, new technology forces, everything that is a force changes his way to stay in his operations. Operations, performance model, cost model, everything that makes him stay changes his way. So whatever I'm pushing to him, he needs to resist to stay in an operating model. So what he's doing, he's adopting to my push. I'm pushing him because it's a force that's on him. And mostly what you're doing in your business is that you are trying to adopt to outforce changes that are coming. This is where you use your time and your energy. In this, there's no growth. In this, there's no competitiveness, because he's just adopting to maintain his business. Are you with me? With her, I actively need to find and catch her, because I realize there's something attractive in her I need to find. That means with him, he needs to integrate, optimize, align. With her, I need to find her to say, what is the benefit I can get out of this AI version to deliver better service, to have real-time information to do inventory financing, to get a better balance sheet. So I'm actively finding new ways to do business. So with her, I'm doing prototyping. I need to explore something I don't have now. So within her resides growth, new services, and increased revenue. Within her resides competitiveness. So it's not that they're competing, they're different. I need to do this before I do this. When I use her often, I need to align him with this. Often in business, this is called running the business and developing the business. But most of the time, I promise you, 90% of your time you focus on this, because you're in a survival mode to adapt to what is coming. Thank you very much. Can you give them a hand? So now you know the difference between this, and this is like a periodic table that you can use. I put down for you the strategic archetypes, so the inclination they have for growth, for productivity, and so on. So there's no rocket science to this. So in reality, the fourth industrial revolution emerges in 8 evolutions. And now you see 4 of them. The digitalization is not finishing. Most of you that are here started on your digitalization journey. It's not finished. It's a journey that you have to continue on and on and on. I will demonstrate that to you a little bit later. Technology revolution, 3D printing, digital twin, data, all of this. This is hardcore. And then you have environment revolution, which is a regulatory revolution. I was part of the European Union to do scope 1 and scope 2 and scope 3. And I'm sorry to tell you, I'm utterly disappointed. Utterly disappointed. What is the outcome of scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3? We use $10 and we pay $9 tax, and $1 goes to an environment. Shame on us. Again, we fooled the manufacturers that you have to pay more tax and administration and just $1 for environment. It's the worst thing we ever did for manufacturing, by the way. That's my opinion. Good, then we're in the economic revolution. The economic revolution looks this. I'm going very fast through this. This is the situation you're seeing today. We are in an economic reset because of one main reason. 3.5 years ago, there was a president in the US, he was sleeping. And meanwhile he was sleeping, Saudi Arabia's king, MBS, he did a divorce called the petrodollar divorce. Petrodollar divorce is the one thing that holds our whole economy together. I'm a professor in economy, so I'm just letting you know. It holds everything together because the US could unlimited print money and have the rest of the world paying for their interest. When that happened, Nothing happened. If Trump or anybody else would have been president, they would send an army down there. Everything that happens after this, why the world is so crazy like today, is because we're spiraling in a monitoring reset system. This is the main reason why the US dollar is spiraling. Everybody goes away from the US dollars. This is the fight that you see down there. The fight you see down there in Iran, the fight you see in Ukraine, the fight you see everything, it's not about the people. It's not about everything. It's about oil. It's about money. It's about the linkage of the US dollar because the US dollar is falling. So this is the element that you see now. That's why we're living in a multipolarized world. We live in a world of colonization, so the strongest one will win, right? We live in a climatism view, so we've been sold the view that we should move away from energy, whereas manufacturing is based on having energy. So that has split a geopolitical reset. That means the environment to save the environment is changing quite radically. So we're in a nationalism. Everybody fights for themselves. And we're in deindustrialization. This is not a good message, but it's a good message for the Nordic countries. It's a good message for you. You are heading into the best season ever in industrial area. There has never been a better season for you. You know why? France and Germany has castrated themselves in manufacturing and industrial sector. They have been going to a sadomaso club where they've decided to inflict as much pain on themselves as possible, meaning the energy prices is high, manufacturing is polluted from core skills. Polluted from core skills is that the Nordics has maintained core skills in manufacturing. Germany and France has been polluting it by saying tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, meaning they've been pushing out the core elements. I'm supporting the German government with BMW and Mercedes to transform 2 plants from automotive industries to defense industries. What is the key element we realized there? They don't have the core skills in manufacturing anymore. Nordic remains core in manufacturing. The backbone of innovation is engineering. The backbone of industrial sector is engineering. It's IT, it's strategy and engineering together. These 3 disciplines make it up. And you are at the center of this. You are the strongest at this. That means your future looks really, really strong because the future of growth resides within industrial sector. The future of productivity resides within industrial sector. So this is the good message I have. So we have the next one coming up, which is the bio-revolution. The bio-revolution is the true AI revolution because today we talk about AI as a language model and there's 8 disciplines in AI. And unfortunately, the language models is the most simple one. The other ones, AI on molecular data, or all the other ones are very different. So the biggest version on AI comes in the bio-revolution. The bio-revolutions is the biggest change for us. And this is also where I need to tell you that everybody talks about an exponential change that we're having. We don't have an exponential change in the world. We have a compounding change in the world. Compounding is that it's changing, but that means there's 3 good messages for you. The good message is when you put people in center, you have the ability to adapt. Because the ability to adapt to changes, even if they're compounding, you have an ability to adapt. Exponential would mean I'm taking 1 step here, and my step 34 would be at the moon. We're not even close to this. We are in a compounding effect. It feels for you exponential, but the good message I'm coming with you, all the changes that are there, you can adapt to them quite easily. Consumer revolutions comes afterwards, fusion revolution, quantum revolution. They're not the topics on this session, because the topics for this session are what are the mega trends for industrial sector, and my example I'm taking for you is actually the mega trends that you have here for manufacturing. So they're the ones, how you watch it. The ones in the red ones is one you need to focus on now. Planning is the next 2 or 3 years, then inspecting, and then you have watching for the next 4 to 6 years. It works the following way. You have 3 mechanisms. One is for productivity, one is for resilience, and one is for growth. So everything within productivity is focusing on digitalization, adopting technology, and getting more out of what you have. Reality on productivity level, you have to invest 3 times the amount in people than in technology. Here's where I'm going to give you the reality check, right? In 2000, the promise of ERP was return on investment. Less people work, right? And lower costs to maintain the system. What was the reality of ERP? Pay 20 million. First implementation, you barely survived. Then you need to have probably 10 million more, right? You sit back with 70% of IT costs that you didn't have before. Return on investment, there was none return on investment. Suddenly you have to maintain a huge infrastructure that you have to maintain, right? That's the reality of ERP. You all sit with that today. So the reality is, how do you move the IT cost center from a cost center to a profit center? And this is one of the things that we are in the age of industrial area that is changing fundamentally. What is changing fundamentally is that with ERP and with your IT costs, you've been cemented into a ground where the system controls your business direction. This is changing the next 2 years. And you in the Nordics, you have an ability to be the leader in this. I will go through that in a second with you. Then you have everything within the resilience, element. If you realize that, where is that residing, Henrik? That is residing in an integrated business plan. Anybody of you know what an integrated business plan is? In the industrial sector? It's an Excel sheet. The whole business of any industrial sector is still being managed in an Excel sheet. So you have the IT system and the Excel sheet working totally separate. And today the system is controlling the IT, and this is the fight going on for the last 20 years. So everything about tariffs, de-risking supply chain, how to be more predictable, all of this. This is the link, and this is where you move from automation to intelligence. This is the link where you need to find very strong partners to realize, how can I use my productivity with automation, my digitalization maturity, which data do I need to have to get output to run? It works the following way. If this is an activity, and this is my input, and this is my output, where do we measure nearly all of our business? Meanwhile, the activity happens. Meanwhile, the output, where do we measure it today? You know? 90% of our business is output-driven measured. The activity has already happened. That means if you need predictive information, you want to align your output-driven information to take real-time information meanwhile it happens. Data is only important to take decisions. Data is not there because you can create data. Data is there because you can take an important decision. That's the only reasons why. So data, to visualize data with a very strong partner, is one of the most critical parts. To realize, is that investment to visualize my data important? Because I can take decisions with that. That's relevant for you. Very much so. Then we have the upper layer, which is the growth. These are elements where you use technology to design new areas. So the leadership competencies are changing very radically the next 3 years. So leaders today, if you're a leader today, you need to be very strong in system thinking. Very strong in system thinking. So inventory financing. How many of you heard about inventory financing? Inventory financing was a very strong practice in the Nordic 15 years ago. You need to go to bed with a bank and with an insurance company and be very good friends for them to do it. but none of them will do them today because they're allowed to go to the big market, to do stock market. Today, manufacturing is where the real market happens. Manufacturing has the biggest potential with digitalization of the warehouse management to get an insurance wrapper around the inventory and actually get an inventory financing. Any family office will do inventory financing if there's an insurance wrapper around it because they cannot lose money. Once you get a family office to do it, then you can go to a bank and get a better price for it. What was I just going through with you? I was enabling you how you use your digitalization of your warehouse management data in real time to move it in real time to make it visible for an insurance company. The insurance company doesn't care what you sell. They only care when they insure the warehouse, that they can always see how many are coming in products and how many are sold. They only care about the risk. So if you can create something like this, this is where you're going on top for growth, for re-engineering. When you want to focus on supply chain is the competitive force in industrial sector, or the sourcing price that you have up here. So, one of my key elements I have for you, the technology does not really matter. It actually matters how you apply the technology. So it's you that sit here that are the strategic thinker, and that's one of my key element, one of the few proponents to say the core of everything we do is humans. Humans buy from humans, we work with humans, we sell with humans, we invest with humans. This is what we consist of. Technology is what we apply. Why is it you partner with somebody? Because you build trust in them. Why is it you sell to somebody or somebody buys from you? It's because they trust you. You have delivered a promise and you keep your promise, and they like the way that you do business. That's called trust. So the core element of business is not technology, it's trust that you build and connect towards each other. So here's the fancy thing I'm coming with you. This is one of the things I'm really, really excited about. So pay attention here because it's gonna go fast, right? This is the element where you realized what is data, where you need to do what, in what manner. So my key message for you is the following thing. Everybody in the AI space is selling you there's a magic powder around. There is no magic powder. You need to own your own data, you need to manage your own data, you need to design how you apply data, you need to integrate, optimize, align, all of this together. What you see from me now is no rocket science. I have been developing the standards for how SAP is implemented. I've been writing a book called ASAP. When you implement SAP, the ASAP methodology, you see my name under there, right? I developed the standard on how information technology is integrated. All of this is the nervous system of information. Having large language models coming in and using new words breaks the whole nervous system. You have been investing in ERP and IT for years. You've been investing in business intelligence. Now we call it AI. But AI is an evolution of how you get more information out of your data to take informed decisions. Before we called it business intelligence, now we call it AI. Great, now we have a new name to sell something new. So, it works the following way for you. Everything which is simple operations, which is 70% of your organization, is non-core. Everything which is non-core has the nature of a cost cuttings. You should whip the dog. Automate, align, integrate as much as you can, but only for the data that is relevant for you. Don't do a project just because you can do it. Everything in data has a purpose to it. So everything that is non-core, use robotic process optimization. How many of you use a robotic process optimization? That's it? That's it? Okay. Remember I think it's 7 years ago, McKinsey and Deloitte came out with a promise, robotic process optimization was the next new wave in AI. You could go back and pay 10 million for that, right? Robotic process optimization is forecasting, planning, budgeting. It's hiring, it's payment, salary. It's process that already exists and you automate it. You can save 20 to 35% on robotic process optimization. Why is McKinsey and Deloitte not saying it today? Because you can download it for free. And because you can do it with your own team. This is very important. So if somebody is so mature, remember the hype cycle, it goes up, industry specific, then the hype cycle then goes down to best practices. When it goes down to best practices, it has a performance curve that goes up. So that means if nobody talks about it, this is the time where you need to implement it, to standardize, to integrate all of this. Why is it important you use 80% of your organization to do this? Because 80% is where you have your dormant data that costs you a lot to cost, and you need to get more value out of your data. The 80% is the first wave you do with your own team to manage what you already have. I call this very simple, operate to grow. That means don't invest too much, but get money out of what you already have laying around to get some value out of it. And then you have the next piece, everything which is complex in nature, which is 15% of your organization. Everything which is complex in nature, your warehouse, supply chain management, everything that has a performance nature to it in your organization is where you should be careful. Why? If one of it falls, shit hits the fan. So if your sourcing and your warehouse management is not linked together, or your warehouse management and supply chain is not linked together, it can very much increase your price, all of this. This is one element where you say, since this has a performance nature to it, this child, you are focusing on alignment, optimization, not as much integration. Why is this important? This is the element where you focus on digitalization. Well, then you say, wow, Henrik, are you telling me I only need to focus 15% on digitalization? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That means your 80% of your data, you know you need to capture to everything which is digitalized. Digitalization is the crossing point between a system, a software, a person, a robot, and a simple line. This is what the connections is. This is the element where you want to have data in this element. So since this has a performance nature to it, you're designing it yourself. So you're designing a workflow. You know the difference between a process and a workflow? Doesn't seem this way. Okay. Can you pass this? Can you pass it? She's a person. I gave her a task. She does an activity. She moves it around to him. Between these two activities, there's a process. Between a process, I can measure the process. Between 2 or 3 processes, there's a service. I can measure the service, right? This is how you know the organization is set up. You know this works, right? She could as well, if the job would to give him, she could just pass it to him. So a workflow is what you, a process is what you do, a workflow is how you do it. And a service is what you deliver. It's very important that you realize this, because then you realize with the complex organizations in digitalization, you do robotic process optimization because you design the workflow, and within the workflow, you design how it should be. So you use robotic process optimization to define the workflow. What is this called today? AI agent. Oh, good. Who can design this? Who owns the workflow? Is somebody coming out to tell you that this is the workflow? No. It's your team sitting together to say, this is the assembly line, this is the warehouse, this is how we need to do it. We need to, if we change it this way, because the process was designed 15, 20 years ago, how this activity is linked. And if you realize you need to change it, this is how you change it. This is how you're able to change the organization. And then you have the last bit, which is the unique operations, tactical operations, and strategic operations. These three pieces are the smallest pieces, but they are one thing only. There's your integrated business plan. This is the Excel sheet. These 5% you have up there is the head of how your executives are doing your profit and loss, how they do the whole strategy resides within these 5%. That is an Excel sheet. The only way you can link this is with digitalization. You know what I'm telling you? The horse that you're riding, your first time you can take the horse and you can govern and control the horse. Now the time for industrial change is that the system is not controlling you, but you are controlling the system. So the potential for you in the Nordic is that you can drive more innovation because you can deliver your cost center to a profit center in your IT. You can drive so your supply chain to differentiate. All of this you can do because you suddenly realize, I can manage this to there. You actually have one step ahead if you move ahead. This is a huge potential for you guys. These things that are over there, take a picture of it. It's not rocket science. It's architecture, it's engineering, it's the same principles you will see in your organizations. You might not be familiar with it, but that's what it is. So from a strategic imperative point of view for the next industrial areas, there are 4 main pillars I want to highlight to you that are really, really big things for you. One is that because you are in control of something again, you can ride the horse, you can decide the strategy. Before, the strategy was designed by your system, how much your system could run what you wanted to have. Now you can design it yourself. So can you profit from sustainability? Yes. You need to pay CBAM, you need to do all of this. Can you regulate it? Can you monetize it? Can you? Yes. Everything that you can validate, you can monetize. Everything you can validate, you can optimize, but you need to realize if you can optimize it. So this is this piece. In terms of IT costs, I gave you actually the formula on how to move your IT costs to be a profit center. 80% of it needs to be non-core, which you need to lower the cost with. Your goal for cost cutting should be up to 60%. The 60% is not savings. The 60% is what you use as money to invest in people. Why do you invest in people? Because the key element of how you drive your business will be digitalization. And the centerpiece in digitalization will be people. Wow. So you're lowering the cost on your IT and you're increasing your focus on people, on how people's skills are to manage your operations. Good. Then you have the whole element of workforce. Can I get all these 5 people behind forward? Yes, all of you. All 5. You too. Here's the secret on the future work and workforce optimization. Yes, all of you. You can move up. Don't be shy. So, just here. I need 1 person here, 1 person here, and 3 people there. Or just here. That's fine. Perfect. So any organizations is very simple. You can make it as complex. I'm an executive, they're managers, and they're the execution team, right? In reality, we all do one thing, project management. So when you see these measurements of this is nothing else than project management aligned in a profit and loss sheet. So it looks more like this. I'm a portfolio manager. They're a program manager. they're project managers. However, if I can easily transform my organizations, and I do that with many organizations, you can go to Aviva, they can do the same thing. It's very, very simple. You can go to Prince2, you can do PMBOK, you can do these complex project management certifications. So how many of you are project management certified? 1, 2, okay. That's one big improvement skills you can do. Why? A project management is a Gantt chart. It's 150 years old. It's your activity, it's role, it's management, it's timing, it's budget, all of this. So see here, if I'm changing my organization, if you can hold hands together. Yes. If we are aligned and the executive team moves this way, I can move them inside. Whatever I'm moving the whole organizations. The reasons why the future of work is very, very difficult, because I'm doing the directional view on strategic business objectives. They're the critical success factors. They're the KPIs. They're the processes. They're the workflows. Here are the service flows. Who's designing the workflows? I and my management team does. Who's designing the process flows? The team down here. That means today, this is where the Chinese wall is. This is where the system is. So where you do move today, you move this block to say, okay, we move this block to, we need to focus on workflows and we need to focus on service flows. Because where do you differentiate in supply chain? Service flows. Where do you differentiate in value in warehouse management or in how you execute? In your workflows, right? Thank you very much. Can you give them a hand? This is the easiest way to transform your organization. And you know what it takes? It takes one Friday where the executive team with the management team aligns what they need to do in a Gantt chart. You can download your Gantt chart, put in your goals yourself, align it a whole weekend, and then next weekend you get a partner in and you train your entire team. What is project management? The reality picture should be, if he comes here next year, everybody of you should be project manager. Why? Because everything you manage in your organizations is project management. The core skills that differentiates people from everything else is that we're project manager. You're a father, so you're a project manager. You're a mother, so you're a project manager. If you change job role, your core skills are changed to that role as well. So you add your competencies and skills to it, right? So I know I have a little bit time, so I'm just going to go through that. This is the funny part, right? If you 5 guys can come up here. Yes, you guys. Yes, this table. And the other guys, they're not reacting, but this is like, you have been domesticated so many years, you must be married.
Of course.
Yes. So, here's how it works, and it's very important that you understand it. If he's a person, that person has skills. Often that person has several skills. These skills is moddable. He can change it. The core skill he has as a human being, he can adapt to any changes that are coming. They can put him into another job role, whatever. He's the core element to apply skills he has learned. He learned them in schools, he learns them in companies. The company implements software, hardware, IT. The company has other partners that they work with. These elements together with the skills is a capability. The capability becomes a competency. A competency is what companies in industrial sector compete at. Core, non-core, differentiating. So you need to be in 80% non-core. You need to be non-core to be really, really good. So you need to automate. You need to have automation and productivity. IT should be very, very good. Why? Because if you're not good at your 80%, they're supporting your 15%. The 15% is your industry-specific elements. You're competing head-on-head. You don't need to be better as your competition. You need to be minimum as good as your competition. And then the 5% is where you design on how you differentiate and grow. Often organizations never get to the 5% because they're the most difficult things to get at. So she's the competence, but she's not changeable. I cannot change her. Where is it you need to change the organization? Skills. I need to change here. Good. Of course, I need to change here down to that person. This is my lever of control I can do. I can add more people. I can focus on the people because he is influencing the capabilities. I can add a new partner to do new IT. The more skills my person has to understand the system, the more value I can get out of my system. So this is the linkage that goes into it. So if you want to compete and grow, this is the element you need to focus on. Right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So my message to you is the core element that you will win with the next couple of years is how much focus are on your people. Develop project management skills in your people. Focus on them to manage the data. Find a very strong partner that can help you to manage your data. So the golden rule I want to tell you, I don't want to offend anybody, the golden rule, you must learn to manage your own data. I'm going to be a little bit like a father that talks to a teenager. I'm sorry, there's a time you need to learn to manage your own budget. And the one thing you have in the industrial sector is your data. You need to manage your data, but you need to own it yourself, but you need to have a very strong partner that can help you to manage and own it. You need to have a partner that can help you to say, I need to define my workflows. Who can help me to define my workflows? I need to design a solution for this. Who can help me to design a solution like this? So the last bit I want to go through here is the value chain stress. Value chain is going to hit the fan, very much so. So value chain is the one thing you should go back to and says, you've been the last couple of years to de-invest it to have less people focused because everything should be automated. No. The one thing you will be differentiating on in industrial sector is people. So if you invite to your Christmas party the procurement guy, if you know the port guy, if you have still trusted investment in the people that are around you, supplier relationship management is a skill you need to build. You need to have a skill towards your customer, a personal contact to your customer, and a personal contact to your supplier. Because the more automated you go, the more valuable a customized solution will be in order to do this. So don't throw it away because you can save money. Some elements you want to keep because you know when the supply chain is disrupted, the guy that wins in supply chain is the guy that can call Peter and says, Peter, by the way, remember last Christmas party? How's my shipment doing? I need this, ask it for a good price. And there's another reasons why you have to be very careful about supplier relationship management. AI gouging has entered into the sourcing. In AI gouging, your prices gets higher and you think it's high because energy prices, no. AI gouging is an agreement on pricing that a robotic machine does. Good. The more you are investing in technology, the more you need to invest in people. It's actually threefold. So the formula is threefold. That's a very important one. Now comes, I'm at the final part, so I'm coming to the funny bit I really wanted to get to, right? So this is the piece, the artificial intelligence periodic table for organizations, how to apply it. So AI is not something new, but AI is something you need to learn, and I put it into a model for organizations to learn in a simple way. So when you talk about models, models are nothing else than a combination of different algorithms and systems into a bigger piece that can work this. So you need to work it, you have symbolic AI, which is algorithms and machine learning. Right? Then you have narrow AI, which is hardcore machine learning. Then you have deep machine learning, generative AI, and then you compose. Everything within you compose is how you use the functional guardrails or all of this. So this is set up a model where you can know exactly what you need to use. Now I'm going to show you how to use this. This is hardcore manufacturing value chain. If you've never seen a value chain, it's time you get to know a value chain, because a value chain is how you take informed decisions. A value chain is how you know how your operations works and how you work this. Why is this important? If you use AI, the first thing you do in AI must be purpose-driven. First, when a vendor tells you that he can do this, you need to relate it to your own value chain to say, where is it I can save on my inventory? Where is it I can do labor productivity increase? What is it I can do on my external part of my supply chain? So you need to design what the benefit of the data you're optimizing, integrating, aligning, or which advantage you want to get out of this. When you do this, you normally go into the following steps. Step number one, everybody of you that sit here needs to do is shadow AI. You know what shadow AI is? Nobody knows it? Good. Yes. Shadow AI is a little bit so, why are you not watching porn at work? Huh? Your boss doesn't like you? No, it's because cybersecurity, right? Yes, it's because cybersecurity, right? So AI is the biggest infringement on intellectual capital. So shadow AI is the same thing why he's not allowed to watch porn on his work, because cybersecurity. It's the same thing where you say, okay, thou shalt not share our information and export it outside. That means you should not use large language models because you're CFO and you want to have a fancy Excel sheet and can you do some graphics for me? That's a no-go. Your information you have worked with all these years must remain your information. So shadow AI is nothing else than an internal letter from the CEO where it says, from now on, our data remains our data. If you're doing this, this is the implications. If you do this, this is the implication. And he's defining a roadmap on how you do this. You can do that often with partners. They already have this model. You often need to do this, right? This is why he's not allowed to watch porn in his company. And I'm using an extreme example because that's the reasons why he's not watching porn. But it's the same thing we should be aware of. AI is infringement on intellectual capital. It's stealing your pricing, your information, and you need to be aware of how you do this. This is the rail guards over here. Regulations, IP rights, and all of this that you do. Good. Then you have, if you want to do anything on labor cost productivity, you do robotic process optimization. Robotic process optimization, you use algorithms, you download the software, which is a robotic process optimization. You design the functional call if that's for HR or for whatever it is. And then within that element, you use a robotic process optimization. Robotic process optimization, does that do anything for you at all besides lowering the cost on, for example, hiring process? No. The only thing you want to add to it, you need to have an API. What does an API do? It's a visualization of data for you to take decisions. The most important thing you learned today were three things. Industrial area in Nordics is going into a very good season. Number two, the focus area of this is people. And number three is data is there to take informed decisions. You need to have impact-driven performance decisions. So the visualization of data is one of the most important things for you. If you cannot visualize your data, you don't know, is this output-driven data or real-time data? What do I do with this? How good is the data I need to use? So this is the piece. And I'm just going through because this is then you go to the next one, AI, H, and so on. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going through the very simple model for you. Digitalization works the following way, and all of you on digitalization. First step in digitalization is digitalization, censoring, connectivity. I align what is the workflow I'm working with, which systems do I touch, which measurements do I want to get out of it, and what do I'm changing with this. So I'm saying, finding out exactly where do I need to have a sensory if somebody walks into a safety zone. Click. Where do I need to have the pressure on my machine devices. Where do I need to? So I design exactly what I need. Then at the next level, I'm going to digital engineering. Digital engineering is physical hardware. It's machine. It's what they call today AI physical. But it's the machine. It's the everything which is physical. You customized hardcore. This goes to your center of research and development. And then you go to digital operations. Digital operations, so from a costing perspective, this might cost you 15,000 because most of it you can do yourself, but you need a very strong partner to be guided by it. Then here, you probably spend around 100K to 200K. And here, you're going to spend 5 to 10 times more. This is the heavy hitting room. This is where you go up the mountains, you do the nitty gritty, you don't see the results, you go through on nitty gritty and you don't see the results, and you need to make sure until it's all loaded up. This is the most difficult phase to go through. So my message to you is also, none of you are actually behind. You are in a good season. You have ERP, you are mature in your manufacturing. Everything they talk about AI is this magic powder. And you realize when the hype cycle is coming here, you need to apply it, but you need to apply it purpose-driven when it's relevant for your industry. So, but by applying it means you need to meet it halfway. And meeting it halfway means you need to invest in your people and you need to mature and own your own data. This is quite an important step. I believe manufacturing in Nordic is going one of the best seasons ever. I believe you guys that sit here, you live in one of the best times. I know you feel all the noises that are around the world, but you're in the Nordics. You're in a stable region. You're in the regions where that are investing in people. You are in the regions that are the highest education. You are highest educated people. You can lift that table. You can innovate because you have information in industrial sector. You have very mature, strong partners here. You can align and focus and innovate. I believe if there's anywhere innovation will come out the next couple of years, it will be the Nordic. And it will come from industrial sector because industrial sector is the backbone of growth, innovation. You are the guys I would bet all my horses on. So what I need to convey to you is to that you get some self-confidence so that you can grow some big cojones. Because you will be the guys that will lead to find out supply chain needs a rethinking. Assembly line needs a rethinking, right? How we produce and ship and do needs a rethinking. I believe it will come out of your shop, guys. So you need to grow some monster cojones because the world needs your innovation, for sure. So that was my short introduction to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henrik. And I think it's interesting to see. I mean, I thank you for ending it on a positive note. That felt good. I think we need that in these times in order to have the energy to move forward. When we are talking about this whole rethinking and this whole transition that is needed right now, what do you think now when we're going to focus on the people will be the biggest challenge that we will see when doing that, and how do we overcome that, in the beginning?
So I think the biggest challenge is actually to focus on people, because the promise is that you will invest in automation and get cost cuttings out of it, right? But the cost that you get, you need to invest in the people, right? So this promise is not really there. So I think AI, anything you do in productivity has to be output-driven focus, right? And I think that's the benefit of it, right?
So there's a whole mindset that needs to go into this as well, that we need to sort of, in order to adapt to all of this. Yes. Now, I was thinking about this whole, do you think that there will be an Industry 5.0? And if so, when is that going to happen?
Sure. I don't think it will happen before 2050. I think that's also the weakness of, if you go to large language models, you can ask it whatever and it will just give you an answer, right? You can ask about Industry 6.0, I mean, like industrial revolutions comes rarely, and once they come, they impact every aspect of our economy, how we consume, how we live, the industries, all of this. It will not be finished before 2050, right? And I believe that the future looks good, but the future looks good because we're now in a phase where globalization is breaking up, and globalization needs to break up in order for innovation to happen regionally. And I think that's what's happening now. It's painful. It's painful for sure, but I think the future looks good for all of us. I think we live in a very strange world that you have to have a strong mindset. You have to believe in yourself. You have to find the inner version of you to realize, where do I source my information from? What do I really stand for? When you look at data, what is data really? So data is linked to this. It's information for its categorization, classification. So you need to learn new skills. The future of the skills for you guys is to be specialized. Don't do the same mistakes like Germany and France, is that you become a generalist. Manufacturing are always specialized. Always.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us today. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.